Becky Bainbridge of Bainbridge Botanicals. I took advantage of local legend of the spraying mantis to crush my enemies between my giant elbows. And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Nays more nay!
I've been impersonating your mother for 40 years, and no one knew it was all a ruse to extract the treasure map encoded in your DNA, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids!
Vincent Poggs, the opal miner.
That's right. I knew there were opals in the old McGreevy farm, so I used the local legend of the pregnant moth to try and scare away the locals. And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Olga Stroganoff!
That is right. It is I, Olga Stroganoff. I decide to move Metropolitan Art Museum 6 inches to left in middle of night when all people sleeping because I am criminal mastermind. And I would have gotten away for it if not for meddling kids.
The Vermont Devil!
Ah, my charade is over. It is me, the Vermont Devil. There is no Jersey Devil. I've been practicing my villainy over state lines for years, and I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Judy the Librarian!
Yes, and now you know that the meddling troll who downvoted all your Harry Potter fanfiction was none other than the town librarian. I just had to hack your webcam so I could see your face when you learned that your particularly idiotic Buckbeak Dobby pairing only received 2 stars out of 5. And it was worth it. That moment of reckoning was long, long overdue.
Christian Rabinowitz!
Yes, it is I, Christian Rabinowitz, and I took advantage of the local legend of the 8-tailed land kraken to keep the locals away from my prize compost pile. And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling kids.
Violin Monster!
Yes, I knew you would be surprised. It is I, Violin Monster. I decided to wear the mask of a more ferocious creature because I was sure that donors would contribute more money to my violin case. And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Professor Portnoy!
It is me, Professor Portnoy. I'm cornered. I was trying to steal enough silk to build a second fleet of hot air balloons to drive out the competition, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Barty Sniffleblatt!
Yes, it is I, Barty Sniffleblatt. I worked very carefully to take the place of the perfume seller in flagrant violation of my parole, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddlesome kids.
Luna Lombard!
Fine, I'll give it the disguise. The agropelter you all feared for so long was just a myth. It is I, Luna Lombard, of the Lumberwoods. I have felled scores of jacks with their own foul timber, all to protect my family's secret syrup recipe. And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. Ugh.
Dulcinea del Toboso.
Sí, y quise aprovecharme de la leyenda del Cadejos para que esta gente que no me deja en paz dormir en la noche me dejaran dormir. Los quise asustar. Ah, y lo hubieran logrado si no fuera por esos meddling kids que se meten en todo.
Shirley Butternoodle!
Yes, it is I, Shirley Butternoodle. I used the local legend of the styrofoam cup with feet to scare people into pouring their coffee on my head. And I would have gotten away with it. with it, 2 if it weren't for you meddling kids.
「
Dulcinea del Toboso. Sí, y quiso aprovecharme de la leyenda del Cadejo para que esta gente que no me deja en paz dormir en la noche me dejaran dormir. Los quise asustar. Ah, y lo hubieran logrado si no fuera por esos meddling kids que se meten en todo.
Shirley Butternoodle. Yes, it is I, Shirley Butternoodle. I used the local legend of the styrofoam cup with feet to scare people into pouring their coffee on my head. And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
I've been found out. Yes, it is me, Caroline Crock. All I wanted was to protect the secret sewer route between my investment firm and the local driving range. If others knew how easy it was for me to de-stress after a long, hard day of bilking, I'd never get time to whack some balls. And now it's all ruined because of you meddling kids!
Rodney Rhymes!
Oh, dag. You bagged the hodag. Yes, it is I, Rodney Rhymes, of the Northern Wisconsin Tourism Board. For years, my beastly disguise has brought visitors to the Northwoods, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Judge Stubbins!
That's right, it's Judge Stubbins! The night circuit was going way too easy on all the jaywalkers, so I pretended to be the one thing that would scare away all the other judges on my panel. A giant leech! And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids!
Tom Trowbridge!
Curses! You've tripped me up. Yes, it is I, Tom Trowbridge. But you may know me better as the Tripodero. All that I ever wanted was to reign over this wilderness with my ingenious triple stilts, to dominate this land from above. And everything was going so well until you meddling kids showed up.
Miranda something!
Yes, it's me! I used the legend of the sneezing demon to steal all of the tissues from town so people would have to get my tissue factory tissues. So they had to buy all the tissues from my family. Wah-ha-ha-ha-ha. And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Slender Harry!
I thought your chances were slim, but somehow you've discovered me. You thought I was the Slender Man, but actually, I'm just Harry, a man who happens to be slender. Who would have imagined that the mere mention of my physique could inspire such terror? And I would have got away with it too, if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
The NSA!
Indeed, citizens. You thought I was just an overpriced MacBook, when this whole time it's been me, the NSA. And I would have learned all your secrets too, if it weren't for you meddling kids and your needlessly complex third-party routers.
Jan the dentist!
Oh, time to bite down on the bullet. It's me, Jan the dentist. I've been posing as the ghost of George Washington for years. As soon as people saw my horrifying dentures, they couldn't help but schedule an appointment at my moderately priced, easily accessible practice across the street. And I would have gotten away with it too, if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Hank!
You fools thought I was the Prince of Darkness? It was so much fun tormenting the souls of the damned, opposing the light. But it was just me, Hank, the tool salesman, getting a hefty profit off of pitchfork sales. And I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids!
Billy Bilton!
It's true. I am not the butler. I am the butler's butler. I but buttle for the butler, and I bet I buttle better than the butler who buttles as my better. I've been a bitty bitter at this buttling for a better, and a butler buttling bitterly is a butler buttling badly. I'd better buttle better in a brutal butler battle. Abetted by a bat I bought to batter better butlers.
Solomon Skullman!
Man, if only I could dissolve into tears like the actual squonk. As any major dude'll tell you, I'm Solomon Skullman, and I should have owned half of the hemlock forest in northern Pennsylvania. Scaring fools like you with my unsightly skins. And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
The Minotaur? Joke's on you, fools. I'm an actual Minotaur, and no amount of meddling can change that. So, ha!
Zeke Stevens!
That's right. I knew my family's fairground wouldn't survive when the new Ferris wheel factory moved in, so I took advantage of the local myth about the outer space alien from deep space to scare off their employees. And I would have gotten away with it too if you weren't for you meddling kids.
Backwards, man!
Yes, it's me, Backwards Man. You thought you were sneaking up behind me, but I've been facing the other direction the entire time, committing amazing crimes by learning from my past mistakes. And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Holoplasma!
It's true. The chupacabra you suckers all fear is simply myself, Holoplasma of the Blood Bank. Donations have been light this year, and I needed a way to test my experimental exsanguination method without troublesome doctors. And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you bloody meddlesome kids.